What's up, G's? How we doing? Let's get some ones in the chat if you can hear me. Petro said it in before I even said it. One, nice. Can everyone hear me? One, all right, cool. How's everyone doing? Let's wait for everyone to get in here. All right, nice. Doing well, Ibrahim. Nice, thanks for asking. So we got a lot of good feedback on last workshop, the kind of unprepared format, mess ups and all that kind of thing, going through troubleshooting. So what I'm going to do today is I didn't prepare anything since last workshop. We're going to resume exactly where we left off. So we'll continue that whole process. Nice. Let me just close TRW really quick. All right. All right, let's get started. So basically last time we left off where we were in make.com and we were getting the AI ready to prompt our dynamic carousel for us in JSON format. But then we realized, oops, we didn't add the product image URLs into our Airtable. So that's what we have to go ahead and do right now. So where's my Airtable? Right here. What we're going to do is add another column. We're going to call this a link, wherever that is, URL. We're going to call this product image URL. Create field. All right. Now we need to go back to Gorilla Minds and then just quickly go through all of these. All right, let me just close this tab. Bring this right next to this. All right, so first one, Gorilla Mode, pre-workouts category. Let's get started. Shop, pre-workouts, Gorilla Mode. You got to click this link, copy image address, put that right in there, and let's just make sure these work. So paste it in the browser, and here we go. Here's our image. All right, nitric, glycerol, Gorilla Mind Energy. Let's go. Nitric. We need glycerol, which is here. Gorilla Mind Energy, which is the energy drink. Copy image address. Nice. Gorilla Mode Intra, which I believe is the start of the intra workouts. Nice. I have the TRW chats right in front of me this time on a monitor, so if you guys get any questions along the way, I'll be able to answer them pretty immediately. All right, now we need EAs. Let me just shorten this a bit. EAA's hydration. Oops. I told bro only use 5 products. Yeah, my bad. I already started with 19, so I just gotta blow through these. All right, where are we at? Hydration. Let's speed run this. Hydration. Here we go. I'm not even gonna narrate. I'm just gonna quickly blow through this. Protein mass gainer. Copy images. Let's go. Speed running this real quick. Creatine. Gorilla Mind Smooth. For anyone that's just joining, we're just adding all of the image URLs for each of these products. So when we make a carousel, they're going to show up to stimulant free, Gorilla Mind Smooth. All right, shroom nitric peptides. Shroom. We already have nitric. is it? Here. Peptides. I believe this is in the health category now. Where's this? Bedroom and sleep. All right. Copy image address. Gorilla Dream. Let's go. Gorilla Mind Calm. Here it is. Elite multivitamin. Onto the health. Paste. Last two, Sigma, AR. All right, let's go. Gorilla Mode AR, where's it at? Someone's posting GIFs. All right. Now that we have these, we want to recreate our ideal carousel. So what's the kind of information we want in our carousel? Well, we want the product name. We want the price. Don't really want a description. We could, but if we do, we want maybe like the first sentence as a description. So maybe we can prompt the AI to just pull the first sentence from each description, which would be nice. And then we'd also want the product link to embed in the button itself. And then we want the product image URL to display. All right, so let's add a carousel. We're gonna upload a link. Let's just use, what are the sleep ones that I did? Let's just quickly run this and then see what it gives us for sleep. Which products? Cedric said, would it be also be possible to get an add to cart button by getting the URL? Yeah, it's a bit more custom coded integrations, but that's something that you can work with the client with. I mean, you have access to JavaScript directly in here. If you can't, because the JavaScript in this environment is serverless, you may have to do this just by adding the code directly to their website and just use the voice flow dialog API just to get your chat front end in there in the conversation. All right, let's see what it gave us. Which products? All right, it gave us collagen. All right, let's see what else. All right, this is just all collagen. Now, ideally, we might just want to trim these descriptions down because it's just going to waste unnecessary tokens, but it's going to improve the recommendations. Let's just see what else we got. So we got collagen, and then we got Gorilla Dream. All right. So we'll use that in our example. Although I don't know why they recommended collagen. I guess that is part of the bedroom and sleep. But why? I don't know why collagen is part of sleep. Whatever, we'll just roll with it. So let's add a carousel. Actually, we have one right here. Delete this. Let's get a image link. So we're gonna do the Gorilla Dream. Just copy this back into voice flow. Link, paste. Make sure this is Gorilla Dream. Let's grab the description. Let's just grab the first one. Vivid dreams, deep sleep, wake up refreshed. I'm going to do that in like this kind of format. Now, this is going to be tough for the AI to format. I can already foresee that, but we'll just try to work with it as we go. Vivid dreams, deep sleep. What's the last one? Wake up refreshed. Wake up refreshed. Cool. We have visit products, and we're going to want open URL, and the URL for this is this. So head back into here, paste that in. It's the open URL. And is there any other information that we want? Price. So we could do something like Gorilla Dream, and then we add the price here. So it will be $59.99. $39.99. And then you could obviously design this however you want. And even if we want to do italic this, we could, but let's just leave it. Let's quickly set up the next one. It's going to be, let's just go with Gorilla.com. GorillaMine.com. Let's get the image URL. Grab the first sentence. Potent relaxation and stress reduction properties. All right. Make sure this link is correct. Yep, GorillaMine.com. And now we need the price. $49.99. And actually, I want to bold this price. But let's do that later with the AI. Let's just take it step by step. Visit product. All right, cool. Is that everything that we need? We have description, we have the URL to visit the product, we have the image, and we have price. All right, cool. Now let's see. Yeah, let's just italicize these just to make it a bit more. I guess you can't. You have to italicize the bottom ones. Whatever. Let's run this. And we're gonna actually inspect first. Right click up here, hit inspect. Gonna go to network. Gonna look for the interact endpoint. And then we're gonna run this. Run test. Find this, go to response. Then we want to find our payload for the carousel. So that is payload here. We're just going to copy this, Command C. Actually, you can just right click, copy. Now what we want to do is actually do some finicky stuff. So in GPT, we want to make sure that we get those exact two products that we're testing with. So here's our carousel layout. I'm just going to paste that, what I just copied, right? And then I'm going to delete this input because what I want to do is, in order to make sure that the AI just gives us those two exact products so we can give the AI a good input-output example, what I'm going to do is just going to say, actually, all right, so right now this is only recommending based on category, right? In the future, we could add some functionality so that if someone asks for a product specifically, it could go ahead and find that. Because right now, all this AI knows about is the categories. It doesn't know about all of the products. So actually what we could do is just add a little knowledge base, which actually we're going to cover probably in the next workshop where I show you dynamic voice flow knowledge base. And basically what we'll be able to do, since we have this Airtable, we'll be able to automatically add all of the information that's in this Airtable directly into the VoiceFlow knowledge base via a make.com automation. And basically it'll just watch this Airtable, and anytime a new record gets added, it's going to automatically add it to our VoiceFlow knowledge base. And so basically because of that, we're going to do that next workshop. That's actually a great demonstration for next workshop. So as of now, we just want to see if we can get the exact input response for Gorilla Mind Dream and Gorilla Mind Calm. which we got to start from the beginning. Let's see. It's giving us collagen again. All right, let's just request the API. Send request or product name equals dream, Gorilla Dream, comma, same thing, product name equals Gorilla Mind Calm. Yep, Gorilla Mind Calm. And then we just need to make sure we add another end quote and then an end parenthesis. And then this should give us a response. Yep. So we got bedroom and sleep support, Gorilla Mind Calm, product link, description, created time. All right, so we're missing the product image URL. I believe it's because I need to save this. How can I save this? Where are we going? Or actually, no, it's not because I need to save it. It's because this aggregator for our array is not adding the product image link. So what we need to do is run this, resend, and then with this aggregator, we should now have, okay, we don't. First error encounter. Product name, price, category, description, product link. Let's see. What we're missing right now is the product image URL from the new table. So it's because our Airtable module is not taking this into account. So here we go. Just had to enable it there. Now if I go ahead and run this again, hold on, go ahead and run this, send this request. Where are we at? Now this aggregator, now we need to click it there. All right, cool. So we had to basically enable it in this Airtable module, make sure it's checked in here because it's a new row that we added. And then also make sure it's checked in the aggregator. And now if we send this response, it isn't returning, one moment. There we go, now we got it. Just make sure if we resend, all right, if we resend, it's not working. So what we need to do is we're going to show the webhook queue. It should be empty. Let's first save this. We're gonna actually duplicate this tab. Because you guys know these webhooks can be finicky in terms of like how it updates and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is just show this queue. No data, which is good. So we wanna turn this scheduling off, run this, send this through, have the product image URL. Now let's turn scheduling on. If I send this through again, we get the product image URL. All right, now we're all set. We want to copy this exact response. Now we are in this second make.com scenario. And just to recap, this is the AI step that's going to dynamically create our carousel for us. So we have, you're an expert JSON formatter. Only output JSON formatted data. You should only output the cards for the number of input products that you are given based on the following JSON structure. Basically, we're just telling it to generate the carousel based on what we have. So now we have our first user input message. What we need to do is paste our example response in, how we're going to give it over to this exact module. And now we need to modify this. Actually, it's set up perfectly. So Gorilla Dream. Let's just make sure that in our input, the product image URL is included. And we want to also make sure that for these images, they are a link, which is good. All right, so let's test this out. What we're going to do is just test this manually for now. So let's just say, I need help. I need to improve workout performance. Let's go ahead and then copy this response. And then we'll head back into this specific scenario. We're going to make sure we save those changes by hitting OK. And then what we're going to do is run this module only. Actually, no, we configured something wrong. We didn't add our last step. So we have user, assistant example. We just need to add our last user message. And this input is going to be this variable. But for now, we can just paste this in. It's taking a bit long. All right, so we're going to take this last input message that I just had. We're just going to actually send this to this webhook. That way we can input this variable first, because I think that's what's causing this AI message to be a bit finicky. So let's hit OK on this. We have this webhook all set up. Let's just make sure to see where that is. It's this webhook sending over the Airtable query. And let's run this. Send request. I think that was the wrong webhook. Let's see. J25. Yeah, it's the other webhook. So what do I must have had this for testing purposes duplicated, right? So let's make sure that we get this address for this webhook. We're going to paste it up here. And just for good measure, we want to go ahead and make sure that we redetermine our data structure. And then from here, let's go ahead and send this request. So let's go back to using category. Just go ahead and copy pre-workouts. Generate. Status code 200. We head back into make. It's been successfully determined. Let's run this and then send this again. Cool. This is an error because we didn't input our variable, which we now have access to since we've run this module. Now we can input our Airtable query, except, no, this is not what we're sending over. We're actually trying to send over the data, the response that we get from this, which we're capturing to Airtable response. So what we want to do is actually say Airtable response. Cool. Now let's send this request. I believe we can get an example just by doing this. Let's go ahead and check. Actually, we need to run that one more time. Airtable response. All right, we actually have to stringify, which I thought we did. Airtable response equals JSON stringify Airtable response. All right, let's see what's going on here. So basically, when this is captured to Airtable response as a variable, this is an object, and we have to stringify this object in order for us to access it. So first we need to find out why this response isn't being stringified right now. So let's just go ahead and run this. So it was earlier, now that I think of it. Sleep sucks. Someone said 4.0 mini is cheaper, which is correct. And actually, VoiceFlow just dropped our ability to use 4.0 mini if I open this up. Yep. All right, so basically I made a change and now this Airtable response is not being stringified correctly. So we need to figure out why. Because before it was when I was testing this. Yeah, it's object. See if we save this to a new variable. All right, so that's why. There's an issue with our output that we're getting right now from our original webhook. And I believe that's because we have to reset this scheduling. What are we sending as a request? Or product name equals pre-workouts. Oh, it's because we don't have category. That's the issue. So now if I send this, we have all of our information, and now let's just double check that this is working. Still as an object. Let's see what the issue is here. Capturing this Airtable response. And let me just test this with only this really quick. Bear with me, G's. This is part of the process. Right now we're trying to figure out why our variable isn't, so it is being stringified. All right, so maybe it was just an issue for some reason that we had this in this block, but I think the issue actually was because we had it connected to this. Let me test this theory. Yeah, for some reason now it's not being stringified as soon as we connect it to this. So what if we just create a new variable called stringed at response? We set this new variable equal to this, and then see if this works. Yeah, all right, so now this is saving. For some reason, because we're, maybe the issue is that we're sending this. Hold on 1 second. So everything I'm doing now, guys, is kind of the steps that you have to follow when you're troubleshooting. Like, it's completely normal for you to enter these roadblocks. It's just thinking about it systematically and how you're going to troubleshoot it. So for some reason, I have a feeling that now the stringed at response is going to be an object because we're sending it in this next post request. And then we need to figure out why. All right, no, we're fine. It was just something weird with that other variable. Okay. Here's what the issue was. It was because we were capturing the response. We were sending over the response from this post request and capturing it to the Airtable, right? Stringifying it. We were also capturing this response to Airtable response. And I just overlooked that because we simply copied and pasted over this post request. So what we're going to do is just screw that. I don't want to use a string at response. I just want to set it back to what it was before, just to keep everything simple. Now I should be able to drag this back in here. And what we're going to do now is just capture this response to what is this called? This is going to be called our dynamic carousel. So let's create a new variable called carousel dynamic, and then we'll create this variable. All right, cool. Now if I test this, this should work fine, and we shouldn't be, Airtable response shouldn't be an object. Let me know if anyone's having questions. Yep, here we go. That was the issue. So what we want to do now, send over the Airtable response here. And now that we have our webhook set up, we should be able to run this and then get our request in here. So let's redetermine this data structure, send over an API request. Airtable response will be like this. Actually, let me get it in the exact spacing that it's going to look like. So let's say need to boost my workout. All right, let's copy this whole response, bring it back into the scenario. No, bring it back into this send request. Paste this in, generate. Now, if we look, data structure has been determined. And if I run this, and I send this response, see now we have Airtable response, and it's this long ass response. So we'll definitely want to cut down on those product descriptions because that's going to unnecessarily eat tokens. And we can do that by basically, we can use a substring function, or we can simply just go into our Airtable and then shorten down the descriptions itself. But for now, we'll just deal with it. We could actually, since this is JSON, we could parse this response into multiple JSON variables and then put this back into ChatGPT. But for now, let's just move forward and make progress, and then we can worry about optimization. So we want to actually get Airtable response. And this webhook is J25. Okay, so let's test this out. Let's run this module only. For Airtable response, let's paste exactly what we just copied. Actually, we got to paste the Airtable response from here. So just say, oh, boosting workout. Copy this, head back into make, paste it in. All right, I gotta plug my computer in a second. Now let's see. How is this different from the last carousel one? We're basically we're continuing essentially. All right, geez, let's get some questions in. I'll be right back. I'm just grabbing my charger. All right, we're back. Just one sec. Plug it in. All right, we're good. Let's continue. So the output of this, let's see. We got this carousel. We're gonna have to do some prompting with this, but let's go ahead. What we can do is download output bundles. Here's the result. Actually, here's the result. So I'm just gonna start at the top of here. Go all the way down to the bottom. Now to test this, what we can do, by the way, I copied that. You go ahead in the action body, plug that in, and let's see. Boom. All right, so it's working all good. Let's just make sure it visits the right product. Yep. See? Perfect. So we got the AI correctly outputting our product recommendations. Someone said, if we like combine everything and you Prof Pope told us in this campus and we make a ultimate chatbot, is it worth trying? Well, if you're just talking about overall making the quality of your chatbot better, then yes, like there's definitely a world in which you have a chatbot that does appointment bookings, it also does lead capture, and it also does customer support all in one, right? So there's, yeah, you can definitely do that, but making something that is a chatbot that does lead capture, customer support, and appointment booking that also does AI automated outreach doesn't really make sense, right? So it's just all about the use case and then how you're applying it. All right, now we have our carousel, our dynamic carousel working. What we need to do now is add a webhook response in here. Webhook response. All right, cool. So for the body, we're going to make it results. Yeah, that should be good. We also need to add a header. Content type, application JSON. All right. Now let's go ahead and run this. Wait for new data. Let's send this request. Generate. Now the reason this step is taking so long is because we're feeding a huge description into our GPT, which is not what we would want to do. Ideally, you'd want to shorten the description, so maybe it's like a sentence or two describing the product, just enough for the AI to be able to say, hey, this is why your product is helpful. Because basically what we're doing with the response that we're feeding in is just way too many tokens, because we're going to end up actually feeding this into another AI that's going to summarize the results that we've returned and then convert that into natural language and tell us why it recommended us this product. Appreciate you, Kodo. All right, so you can see we got back our carousel. Now what we want to do, since we're already saving this into carousel dynamic, we can go ahead and we can add this in. We want to make sure it goes after this post response into carousel. And for the action body, we're just going to do carousel underscore dynamic. And before I forget, we actually need to do a set step under this post response that's going to stringify whatever we capture this to, which I believe is carousel dynamic. Carousel underscore dynamic JSON.stringify carousel dynamic. All right. Now let's test this out. We actually need to make sure we set up the scheduling now. Delete old data. We might get an error here. We might get an issue. The scheduling might not be working yet. We might need to go back and fix that. But let's see. All right, we got an issue. And I think that issue is that we didn't actually get anything from this post response. I think it's the scheduling. Yeah, okay. It's the scheduling. So what we want to do is just run this. Let's go ahead and send this again. Just going to take a second for, obviously, this is running. Someone said, I searched 11,000 leads on any mail finder and only got 200 emails. Is this normal? Any mail finder should give you around a 60% hit rate. So I guess it depends where you're sourcing those leads. The information you're getting those leads from those leads, such as like the domain name, company name, and the actual person's name, is probably not the most accurate. So what is the scheduling issue you keep getting? It's not really an issue. It's just the scheduling can be finicky. You kind of have to like reset things. I explain it at the end of system 3. I can do a little reset and make sure that the scheduling actually works for your webhook. So if I turn this on, let's just test again. All right, see? So what we want to do is just turn this off. I'm going to save this. I'm going to refresh. I'm going to run this. I'm going to send this again. Someone said, what can this be used for? So this can be used on like an e-commerce site. That's the application I'm telling you to use it for, or I'm showing you for. And basically, you can put this up on an e-commerce site and it can tell you like, hey, I'm struggling with sleeping, and it can recommend a relevant product, or it can just be there for customer service as well. Yeah, it's taking way too long. We're going to have to fix that later. Huh. I actually don't like how this is. Usually, this is outputting in perfect JSON, which actually I don't like, because that means we're going to have to separate this whole bunch from the top from this down here, I believe. So I guess we can test that really quick. Let me just get the scheduling working and then we'll cross that bridge. Can this be applied to anything else? Yep. Anything that you want to, whenever you have any kind of database, you can have AI go ahead and make sure that you get visuals, a carousel for whatever information you're pulling back from a database. This could be anything. This doesn't have to be products. This could be, let's say you're selling a service that helps you design websites and you have certain templates. You could have this dynamically generate a carousel for that. Yeah, someone said, look what I tried this on. Arcane Moe's. See, he's doing it for real estate. Perfect application. There's so many different applications. It's just a great way of visually displaying information inside your widget. So, yep. All right, so the scheduling is all set now. Now we just need to figure out if this is getting included in our response, and if it is, we're going to have to remove that. So let's go ahead and test. Mario said, would this agent be more useful working in marketing channels like social media, where it directs the user to the website, or inside the website combined with customer support? Either one. This could be, so what I'm going to show you on when we do the WhatsApp integration is I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that doesn't use ManyChat. Basically, you set up a Meta business account and you make an app for your VoiceFlow bot. And what that allows you to do is everything that you have in VoiceFlow, where it shows images, where it shows buttons, gets displayed in your WhatsApp chat. It's the best way to do WhatsApp integration. And so basically everything that you're doing here, dynamic carousels, you can do inside your WhatsApp. And now that I'm thinking it, we're going to have to test how the carousels end up working or looking inside of WhatsApp. But for sure, you can do images, you can do buttons, and all that good stuff. All right, let's say sleep sucks. Now, the fact that our descriptions are so long is actually starting to be an issue because it's just making everything super slow. All right, so there we go. That's all we needed. Everything works. It looks like that wasn't an issue, having the end of our JSON response being included in the variable. There we go. There's the dynamic carousel. Now the last step is just getting our response AI step to basically summarize the results that we got. Actually, we need one more thing of carousel. Basically, you want the buttons, right? You're probably wondering what this path name is. So there's a default path for each one. And actually, this isn't a problem. This isn't a problem right now because our buttons lead to an action, which is open the URL, which is completely fine. But let's say our carousel over here, our example carousel, let's say this action wasn't go to URL. Let's say it was go to a different block. We would have to set up paths in our dynamic carousel action. And so it's a good thing that we're only opening the URL, so we don't really need to cover that now. We have our default path, which is after the carousel step. It's going to continue anyway, which is all good. So in the future, I'll cover that to make sure that, hey, if you have a carousel that isn't having an action such as open URL, if it's actually controlling the conversation flow, then you need to do some kind of JavaScript code steps to ensure that everything's all set. All right, so the next thing we want to do on this custom action is use global listen. And this will allow us, let's say we're in this chat, we have the carousel, and then 2 or 3 chats down the line, we want to go back up to the carousel and click one of the product buttons. That'll make sure that those buttons are still live, no matter where we are in our chat. So that's all good. We want to send this to a second set AI step. One second. Just think about how we're going to do this. So we want to write system prompt. Let's go with GPT-4o mini. Let's see how well this performs. Usually I was just using GPT-4o, but say like you are an expert e-commerce product reco. Let's think about this. You're interacting with a user that is querying, asking, needs assistance with products on the e-commerce store. This is something that we can have AI reword for us, or that are most relevant to their use case. You're interacting with the user that needs assistance with products on the e-commerce store that are most relevant to their use case. Say, maintain a Spartan tone of voice. Avoid hyperbole. What else do we need to tell this thing? We need some specifics. Say prioritize let's actually go ahead and we'll use ChatGPT to help us with the system prompt. We could go ahead and use the perfect prompt writer, but I don't want to do that right now. Let's just get the bones out for what we got now. So specifics, prioritize products and descriptions that are most relevant to the user query. That's right. Briefly touch on each product that is returned. and how it can help the user based on the product description. Respond in 3 sentences maximum. We'll say never mention the database. Actually, it doesn't have access. Never mention the JSON information, including, we'll say product image URL, product link. Now, this is something that you guys can do, because essentially, if the user were to ask this response AI step, like, hey, can I have the image for this product? It would go ahead and provide it, but we only want that to take place in the carousel. Same thing for the link. This AI is going to end up trying to hyper embed the link to this product, but we're just designing it so that only takes place from pressing the button on the carousel. I think those are the only 2 things that we want to avoid. Product link. Say your query warrants a product recommendation. Ask more information in order to perform one. Request. All right. I'm also going to write be conversational, deeply analyze the conversation memory before deciding what to respond with, because I'm going to supply that in the user instructions. Memory. And then I always write, take a deep breath, and take it step by step. All right. So that's our response. Now we need to apply this to a variable. Let's call this natural lang response. Create a new variable. 40 mini is fine. We might want to increase these tokens just a bit. Now here's a little insider tip. To get the most out of these models, you want to supply token ranges that the model has been trained on. So it's been trained in powers of 4. So this is 128, 256, 512, 1024. Generally, you want to keep things around those ranges, 2048. So powers of 4, keep it like that. And you'll get the best responses, essentially. All right. Now for the prompt, we want to supply conversation history. See if we can get a move on here. So vf_memory. Cool. Then we need the user question. Last utterance. Geez, let me know if you have any questions too, because this is going to be capping off soon. I'm just basically showing you how you can get this product recommendation functionality working, and then from there you can tweak it and apply your creative thinking to make it yours. So if you have any questions, I'll do a quick Q&A at the end of this. And then we need do we want to supply the Airtable formula? No, we don't need to supply that. Let's just see what we get here. We'll call this convert to natural language. And I'm just going to color this. All right, so then we want to lead this back to the capture, specifically the capture. Let's see how this works. Probably gonna have to tweak the prompting a bit. See any questions? How can we integrate with WhatsApp or Carousels? Do you mean WhatsApp and Carousels? Oh, okay. We forgot one thing. Simple overlook. We forgot to actually type out our text. And the reason I did a response AI, a set AI instead of a response AI, because what I like to do, I'm not going to do it in this workshop, but I add this JavaScript code block that I've pre-made before. And what that does is just adds nice formatting. So we have, some text and we have an enter space between each sentence. So that's why it's just habit for me to do a set AI step and then manually print it out. And that's something I'll show you guys in a future lesson. So we just want to print out the actual variable, which is going to be natural language response. And then from here, we'll send that back to the start. All right, now we'll test it. We can see that the carousel is still working. Sleeping. Let's see what it gives us on a complex query that has multiple things. And like I said, a couple times so far, we definitely want to shorten these descriptions that we're giving GPT because wasting unnecessary tokens on every AI step and it's just adding too much time. Yep. So basically, we have our product. For better sleep, consider a melatonin supplement which can help regulate your sleep cycle. For energy, a caffeine or nootropic supplement may enhance alertness and focus throughout the day. Would you like more specific recommendations on these types of products? So we basically want to prompt the AI not to say that. I don't really like that because I already know what that's going to do. It's going to lead us into, okay, would you like more specific recommendations on these type of products? Sure. And then it doesn't have that type of prompting yet. It's basically doing a little bit of a hallucination. So here we go. We just got a whole bunch of products based on or category, bedroom and sleep, and health and wellness. And what we'd actually want to do is make sure that we don't return everything from every category. So that's the good thing about SQL responses is you can add a limit. You can say limit 10, and I'm sure you could do that with an Airtable formula. So that's something you'd want to set up so it doesn't return everything from every category, every product. But if we just confirm these links are working, brings us to Sigma. And yeah, that's also an issue as well. We said visit product, and that's something that we'd have to address in this carousel step with a path name. So if I say visit product, and then also add a default path, it should be able to fix that issue. All right, this last test, and then I'm going to start taking questions. Let's find one. Let's get questions relating to this. By the way, just saying, if these workshops could have been more like other lessons, small in length, it would have been more understandable, don't you think? Well, I mean, we were getting a lot of good feedback actually from the last workshop when we did this because it kind of shows the process behind everything, like how you can go about troubleshooting, because a lot of things you guys struggle with is you're encountering errors in the chats, but you don't know how to troubleshoot. You don't know how to go about, okay, I just encountered an error. How do I go around this? And as far as getting this in the workshop, this is going to be chopped up, like for sure. It's not going to have like blank space or anything like that. We're going to do a little bit of editing before we put that in the re-recorded lessons. But as far as an experience for all of you to understand while you're watching this, it's super important to understand what you should do when you encounter a roadblock. Someone said, how can I apply this system to real estate? If you don't mind, please provide an example. Someone provided an example up in the chats. He basically had a database for his real estate. Let's say you have a real estate database and you're like, hey, I'm looking for houses in this area within a 3-mile radius of me. Okay, let me hook it up to Google Maps API. Let me reference that against the available houses in my area. And once I find those two things, I can return the carousel that shows those specific houses, the products, in a link to visit that specific property. Let's get 2 more questions. What would be the cost of running this business in a real system? Not much, because you're just basically using voice flow. The cost of tokens is cheap, especially if you shorten down the descriptions. The tokens isn't taking much at all. So whatever your cost of voice flow is, and then make.com is very cheap. So under $100 to $200 for a business. Yeah, Mario says this workshop format is good, so we'll likely continue with a combination of these and then the more streamlined ones that I prepare beforehand. Pope said your mind's like a fried egg. How can you get that way of thinking to solve the problems that arise? It's breaking it. Like, you've seen what I did here. I'm like, okay, I've encountered an error. Now let me work backwards and see what exactly is happening. Like, for instance, I was in here and I was getting, okay, this Airtable response is I'm getting out as an object. Let's see why. Okay, well, I have this step here. Let me just drag this out and then see if that still causes the issue. Let me disconnect that string and see if that causes the issue. And then I went down to say, okay, actually, I overlooked a huge thing and I was just overwriting the Airtable response. Mario said, wouldn't it be much more simple if you imported all the products info in the knowledge base via tabular data instead of using Airtable? What you could actually use a combination. So you can import the products using tabular data, and then you can basically use chunks to request the information from the knowledge base. Yep, Arcane Moyes, if you're looking for that real estate example, he just put that in the chat. 1 more question. Let's see what we got. Anything? Someone said the AI voice calling agent, can we integrate with WhatsApp or Carousels? Yes, you can. All right, I'm not seeing any more questions, so I think we're going to go ahead and close it off. Next workshop is going to be the knowledge base integration that I mentioned earlier on this call. And there we go.